Hi, my name is Misha O'Neill, and I'm going to be doing a book review video on the Mamba Mentality, written by Kobe Bryant. One of the homework questions were, why did I pick this book? I picked this book because Kobe Bryant is one of the most inspiring players when it comes to his work ethic, dedication, desire, and his heart for the game of basketball. He is a tremendous leader that has a huge impact on players worldwide and coaches worldwide and people. Also, he's technically a coach because after he retired, he coached Team Mamba, which was an AAU girls basketball team, and he coached his daughter as well. Rest in peace to both of them. I think he sets one of the greatest examples as a leader and what it means to lead. His unquestionable work ethic on and off the court is just inspiring to so many people around the world. And I just think that as from a coach's standpoint, I think this is something that you would just need to gain to understand the value of the game. The next question is, what 3 lessons did you learn about coaching from this book? Well, lesson number 1, which was here, he says to become a better player, but in my standpoint, I think is to become a better coach, is to prepare some more. And that is honestly, that's true. Because if you're not a student of your own game, if you're not knowledgeable about the own game and who you're coaching, and knowing your players, and knowing how to use those players to the best of your abilities, and inspire them to follow your philosophy as a coach, which Kobe did to his players, I believe that it's going to be hard to win. So I just think that, too, his 5 rings says it all, too. So I just think one of the lessons is to just prepare for all different things that are going to come with this game of basketball, because basketball is the most complex sport I've ever played. And as a coach, I want to include that into my values if I am going to become a coach for my own team. Number 2, basketball is an easy game to play, but a difficult game to master. And that is one of the most truest statements I ever read in my life when it came to the game of basketball, because you can teach a player how to shoot. If you're a coach, you can teach a player how to dribble. You can teach a player how to just even pass. But it's the desire to practice outside of practice, constant daily effort to implement in your player's mind to understand that, it's not an overnight thing to master. It's a daily effort. It's a daily effort to be desirable, to learn your weaknesses, to learn to be a student of your own game, to know your capabilities. And that's exactly what he said in this book. For example, after the Shaq and Kobe era, after they got done playing, he wanted to work on his 3-point percentage, right? So what he did was he focused on the little details. And I remember he was just even skipping team dinners just to go practice and just shoot 3s all night, all day, waking up 5 a.m. just to shoot all night and all day. And he would sacrifice so much of his time to be so immersed in the game of basketball. And that's how I feel that Kobe, why his mindset has implemented itself into the hearts of coaches and players, because we need to understand desire is what pulls through when it comes to executing a game or getting a win. It's the desire to win, and acting on that desire to win is what makes this game makes this game amazing for coaches, because you implement that philosophy. You can implement that philosophy to your players, that drive into your players. You can't master this game without the desire to work harder in all aspects of this game. As a coach, acting on desire is what is needed to win. So desire to study film, the desire to study the game, to study your players, to study just other teams, to study other executions that can help win against other teams. That is exactly what you need to do as a coach to win against other players. And it's a constant effort. So to do that on a daily basis is what I think is one of the most greatest lessons I've learned from coaching from this book. Lastly, he strengthened his ability to become present. He's a person that stays focused. He's a person that stays focused within his vision. He stays true to his vision. And that is what Kobe Bryant did. And I think if you think about a coach's mindset, it's like coaches stay true to their vision, their philosophy. And that's basically what he's saying in this book. He gave his time to only what would benefit his game. And his family, but that's it. So as a coach, if you're going to sacrifice, if you're going to want to win, you're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to sacrifice time, maybe going out with your friends, eating and all that, and just stay focused on the vision, which is to win. Meaning that maybe studying other teams that you're going to play, setting up film studies, just kind of like being a student of your own game, studying different offenses and defenses and how it would work with your players that you are coaching. I do believe that he is a visual learner and he's constantly altering different scenarios that would happen on that court and visualizing what could happen. And I just think Kobe Bryant has always been and stayed a student of his own game. And that is why he puts so much emphasis on the details, questioning plays, options, what wouldn't work off the court. That is the mindset of a coach, even though he's been a player for most of his life. And that is what I want to implement as a philosophy, or my philosophy as a coach. He thinks about the possible shortcomings, and he thinks about what could and couldn't be prevented based on past games too. So I just think he was a coach of his own game. He wasn't even just a student, he was a coach, because he taught himself how to get better at his own game. And I just think coaches need to understand that you can implement that philosophy into players. Now we got, the next question is, how did this book help you developing your own coaching philosophy? One of the things that Kobe said that applied to my philosophy as a coach was, if something is working for you, why change it to embrace a new fad? And what he means by that is you don't have to follow other coaching philosophies if it doesn't work for you. You can stay true to your own philosophy, even if it's unpopular. A lot of people you don't see dedicating that tremendous work ethic and that unquestionable work ethic on the court, such as 5 a.m. going to the gym, working out, going to the gym, working on your weaknesses, working on the worst weakness you have in your game or the worst things you do on the court. Just even skipping team dinners or even skipping your free time to just have another lifestyle. He implemented this philosophy of sticking true to his vision and his philosophy into other players. And he inspired them because he would use this philosophy to challenge them to be the best. Because he knew that he is better, he is the best. But he wanted to become more than the best. And I realized that as a coach, you always have to have the hunger to win. You always have to have the hunger to stay true to your philosophy. Even if that means that you want to, even if sometimes there are things you probably go out to eat or just have your players have fun. Sometimes the most truest vision is the hardest vision to follow. So I just think Kobe definitely has a way of, implementing that into players. And I just think that he's always been a coach. He just never had the title. Give an example of this lesson you learned from this book and how would you apply it to your situation in life? Kobe said the key to being aware of how you are feeling. So as a player, I understand this feeling because you have to be aware of the way you want to feel before you play a game, before you, go out there on the court. Is your mind right? Do you feel right? Is your health right? there's so many different complexities in this game of basketball that you have to understand when it comes to playing. And I just feel like as a coach, you understand that too. You understand that your team's feeling, how you would want to feel when you're about to win a game. You understand everything about just like the vibrations of your team. And that's how I feel that Kobe definitely has helped himself and helped other players make an impact to win. And because he knows how he wants to feel, and he's aware of his own feelings. Give an example of a lesson you learned from this book, and how would you apply it to a specific coaching situation? You can't achieve greatness by walking in a straight line. As a coach, I utilize the same by not being robotic to what you want to do versus what you are supposed to do. Coaches make sacrifices with time, personalized time to analyze overall game between players. Putting in your time, effort, and work to your team and giving them that visual instead of just walking in this line where it's like, oh, everything will be just fine, just being real with giving the different types of scenarios and different types of things that could happen. I do believe that across different teams, we as coaches need to implement a game-winning philosophy by understanding that achieving greatness isn't just going to be this, flowy, like nice walk in the park. It's going to be hard work. It's going to be losses, but it's definitely going to be about how you benefit from those losses by the way you work harder as a coach. And I just think, that's one of the things that I learned from his coaching situation. If I were a coach, take one point of our discussions so far from the semester and explain it how the book is relevant to that specific point. It would be developing a coach's philosophy, because the way he developed it and the way he stayed true to it is what a coach needs. It needs to kind of just understand that the most important thing about being a coach is to know yourself and to know what you believe in and how you want your beliefs implemented into other players. If you do that, if you show them that it's working, like Kobe said, if it doesn't work, don't change it, other players will follow. Kobe knew himself. He knew what he wanted. And I feel like as coaches, we need to know what we wanted before we implement that philosophy into our under players. What is the purpose of our coaching? What is it what we want to gain from this experience as a coach? He was aware of his ambition, his mindset, and his drive. And RIP to Kobe, not just as a player but for the mindset he implemented into others. And he taught everybody to learn how to be your greatest self. And that is why I love this book so much. All right, thank you for listening. And all right.